Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this video in which we will look at converting fractions to decimals. So one way you can do that is using the short division algorithm, because this line here means divide. This is 3 divided by 8, which is the same as saying how many times does 8 go into 3. So what I'm going to do is write this as 3.000. I'll just write a number of zeros. It doesn't matter if you write the wrong number. So to use short division, we say how many times does 8 go into 3? Well, it goes 0 times with 3 remainder. When you're using short division, always make sure decimal point goes above decimal point. So now we go, how many times does 8 go into 30? Well, 3 times 8 is 24, and then you need 6 more to get to 30. The remainder is 6. So I put a 6 there. How many times does 8 go into 60? Well, 8 times 7 is 56, and you need 4 more. There's a remainder of 4. How many times does 8 go into 40? It goes 5 times with no remainder. So I can stop there. 3 over 8 is the same as 0.375. These two numbers would occupy the exact same position on the number line. Now, another way that you can convert a fraction to a decimal, this only works for terminating decimals, by the way, what you can do is you can try and find a denominator that is a power of 10, so 10, 100, 1,000, whatever. So let's find the smallest power of 10 such that 25 is a factor. Well, 25 doesn't go into 10, but it does go into 100. So how would I go from 25 to 100? Well, I need to times by 4. Because I want these fractions to be equal, what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. Since I times the bottom by 4, I must multiply the top by 4. So to multiply by 4, you double it and double it again. So double it, you get 34. Double it again, you get 68. So 17 over 25 is 68 hundredths. So after the decimal point, we have tenths is the first column, then hundredths is the second one. So this number is going to have 2 digits after the decimal place, and you can probably guess they're going to be 6 and 8. This number is 68 hundredths. It would have been a bit harder to use short division on this one here. You'd have to go 25 into 17. But you can use either method you like when you're converting to terminating decimals. It's just sometimes one method will be easier than the other. But it turns out here for these two, they yield recurring decimals. So remember, that's a decimal such that the digits after the decimal point go forever and ever with a pattern to them. See, the problem is I can't use this method on recurring decimals. The reason is 9 doesn't go into any power of 10. 9 doesn't go into 10, it doesn't go into 100, it doesn't go into 1,000. For these ones, I have to use the short division algorithm. So this is saying 2 divided by 9, or equivalently, how many times does 9 go into 2? So we'll just write a bunch of zeros. Again, it doesn't matter if you write the wrong number of zeros. So we go 9 into 2. Well, that's 0 times remainder 2. Once again, decimal point needs to go above decimal point. So now we say how many times does 9 go into 20? Well, 9 times 2 is 18, and the remainder is 2. You need 2 more to get to 20. How many times does 9 go into 20? Well, it goes 2, remainder 2. How many times does 9 go into 20? It goes 2, remainder 2. You can probably see that this process is just going to go on forever and ever. So 2 over 9 is equal to 0.2 recurring. When you're doing these conversions, you're converting a fraction to a recurring decimal, just stop as soon as you see the pattern. Let's do this one. 10 divided by 11. That's the same as saying how many times does 11 go into 10. So make sure you get this right. The bottom number here always goes outside of the division. So again, we're going to put a number of zeros. Doesn't matter if you write the wrong number of zeros. So how many times does 11 go into 10? Well, it goes 0 times. The remainder is 10. So once again, decimal point above decimal point. Now we're saying how many times does 11 go into 100? Well, 11 goes into 100 9 times. 9 times 11 is 99 with one remainder. So how many times does 11 go into 10? Well, it goes 0 times with remainder 10. How many times does 11 go into 100? 9 with one remainder. How many times does 11 go into 10? Well, it goes 0 with 10 remainder. Hopefully now you can see the pattern. Every first digit, first, third, fifth, and so on digit is going to be 9. Every second digit is going to be 0. Now that we've seen the pattern, we can stop. This is just going to be 0.90 recurring. All right, that's how you convert fractions to decimals. Let's just look at a slightly harder question. So this question asks us to find a number that's more than a sixth but less than 9/50. So this question is actually really easy to do if you know the decimal for this and the decimal for this. And if you don't know that off the top of your head, why don't we go and convert each of those fractions to decimals? So 1/6 is 6 into 1. So we'll just write a number of zeros. It doesn't matter if you write the wrong number of zeros. 6 goes into 1 0 times with one remainder. Once again, when you're doing short division, decimal point above decimal point. So how many times does 6 go into 10? Well, it goes 1 and there's a remainder of 4. 1 times 6 is 6. You need 4 more to get to 10. How many times does 6 go into 40? Well, 6 times 6 is 36. And you need 4 more to get to 40. How many times does 6 go into 40? It goes 6 times, and then you need 4 more to get to 40. How many times does 6 go into 40? It goes 6 times remainder 4. You can see this process is just going to go forever and ever. So 1/6 is equal to 0.16 recurring. All right, what about 9/50? So you might find it difficult to do short division. You'd have to go 50 into 9. It's doable, but it's tough. So we might try and see if I have 9/50, can I make this a fraction whose denominator is a power of 10? Well, 50 doesn't go into 10, but it sure does go into 100. So how do I go from 50 to 100? I need to times by 2. What I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top. So 9 times 2 is 18. 9/50 is equal to 18 hundredths. So 9/50 is equal to 0.18. So this question's become a lot easier. Now I just need to find a number that's more than this and less than this. You can probably just see a number like 0.17 will do. A number like 0.172 will do. A number like 0.168. All of these are more than this and less than this. All right, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.